Hey, today I'm going to review a book I read not too long ago called Seveneves by Neal Stephenson, and man, did that book ever mess me up. So the book basically starts with the moon exploding. It's in the very first line of the book. It's very dramatic. But essentially what happens is the moon explodes, which means the chunks are going to fall to the planet, so basically it becomes a race against time to get people into space so they can be saved. And the book is told in three different parts. The first part is just after the moon explodes and people are trying to get into space. The second part of the book is people trying to survive in space. And the third part of the book takes place like thousands of years into the future after people have survived in space and now trying to get back to Earth. And it's a dramatic ride. It made me terrified of space. There are a lot of people that end up dying in that book. Space is a terrifying place. As I was reading it, I became more and more terrified of the idea of living in space. Well, I wouldn't be living in space, I'd be dying in space because I'd end up in a part of the ship that exploded, or radiation poisoning, or I'd be hit by an asteroid, or I'd just end up like flying off the ship and being spaced, and it's just... And all those things happen in the book. Everyone dies in horrific instances. It's a sad read. Why did I read it? It was really interesting to see how people kind of split themselves up and form different, like, essentially political factions, and how they warred with each other in space and dealt with their issues and really didn't deal with their issues because there was a lot of unresolved tension in that. But yeah, it was fun to watch them just kind of like split themselves apart and sort of form back together. It doesn't... I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but like, it doesn't end well for anyone, really. But reading that book, I learned of so many new ways you can die in space. Like, I knew, like vacuums and all that other stuff, and it's not a fun time to be in space for sure, but this book taught me about hypoxia and different kinds of radiation damage and just good old-fashioned collision with bolides and stuff. Like, space is not a place we should go. I don't know why people go there. It's terrifying. And see, the book is written with relatively close to what today's level of tech would be. So it's as if the moon exploded now, like right now, and we had to go into space right now. The book is kind of written like that, and it's terrifying because none of us would survive. Well, I mean, no, none of us would really survive. They got really lucky. We'd all be dead. This took a turn, I'm sorry. This is what it's been like to talk to me about space for the past couple weeks. It's like anyone mentions anything about space and I just go on and on about the different ways you can die. The characters you get points of view from, and even the ones you don't really get points of view from, they are really believable about like how normal human beings and scientists and political figures and everything like that, like how a disaster would really take place. Like, they discuss how the media tries to downplay some things and make it seem like it's okay, everything will be fine, sort of thing. And it's just, I feel like that would actually happen, and in a way that also terrifies me is like how realistic and believable this book is written. It more or less comes across as like an alternate history. Like, you found sort of like a cross between a textbook and a novel. And in that, there are some problems because he ends up with a few like info dumps where you get a lot of explanation all in a row, and then the story takes a sort of shift to the back a little bit. But it's only to explain why things are happening and why they've made choices that they've made and taken steps that they've taken, because like, this is the tech that they've got, this is what they can do, this is all they can do, so this is how they have to survive, sort of thing. So I get it, and I get why they had to do it. And in a way, I liked it, but I know there's a lot of people out there who would be like really turned off by the idea of it. I also found the ending to be really unsatisfying. I mean, I kind of get why it left off where it did. I really do. Because you're just supposed to get like a little sliver of this, but it just kind of... There could be a whole other book attached to this, and apparently it's a standalone, but I don't want it to be a standalone, because I can't really explain why I'm frustrated with the ending without giving the ending away, and I don't want to do that in this review, because everyone should read this book. but they discover something within the last like 20 to 30 pages of the book, and it's never properly explored, and I don't feel like any of the stuff they introduce in part 3 of the book ever gets fully explored the way it could. Like, you could write an entire book about what happened on the planet itself, because you never get the point of view from the planet. Like, there are people that hide underground, like in a mountain, they tunnel their way in. You get a little bit of it, but like that could be an entire book all on its own. And there's another part of the planet that could be another book all on its own. And then at one point there's people that like split off and they try and go to Mars, and like that could be a book all on its own. And I want him to write all these books. I need him to write these books. I need him to write these books. I knew this video was going to be ranty, but I didn't realize it'd be quite this bad. Wow. I have a lot of feelings. Yeah, all in all, this book is good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I wish there was more. Like, I really do want more to this book, like a sequel or like a side story dealing with the people on the planet. But everyone out there should read this book and then get stressed out. Yeah, this book is one of those books that's going to stay with me for a while, and I'm going to think about it, because I have been thinking about it. Anytime someone mentions space, I think about Seveneves and how we're all going to die. Yeah, that's the way to sell the book. Yeah, that's it for this one. 5 out of 5 stars. Book is great. Read the book. Be stressed out about space with me. Bye.